Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. Today's episode sponsor is Elixir Specialty Coffee. Looks like whiskey, feels like tea, made from coffee, and unlike anything you've tasted before, Elixir is a ready-to-go bottled beverage that is available for wholesale across the United States of America. If you're interested in becoming a wholesale partner, head to elixirspecialtycoffee.com and get in touch through the contact page on the website. While you're there, check out the partnership program between Elixir Specialty Coffee and Coffee for the Frontline and connect if you'd like to get involved in the Coffee for the Frontline program. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro, we are asking a very important question. The question is, how much do you really love coffee? And you might ask why that question is important now. Well, as an industry and as an individual, you are being stress tested by that question right now. How much do you really love coffee? Why are you in this industry is essentially what that question begs you to answer. Now, if you are in this industry because there's nothing else that you can do, you just fell into this job and you are in the coffee industry, perhaps this is a time to reassess whether this really is what you want to be spending your time doing. But the question, how much do you really love coffee, drives deeper to assessing what role you're going to play in this moment during a pandemic. The coffee price crisis of 2019 got us all talking about producers and the role that they play in the value chain, and how cognizant we are and aware we are of how valuable they are to the value chain. Previously, a lot of us just really were stuck in our own bubbles of being in a cafe, being in a roastery, turning coffee from green to brown, and then turning that brown roasted coffee into a beverage that we could enjoy and that our consumers could enjoy. There were some of us that were in coffee because we loved the experience of roasting coffee, or we loved the experience of nerding out brewing coffee. Some of us enjoyed the environment, the cafe environment, that hospitality that coffee afforded us the opportunity to be involved in. But this moment calls you to ask, how much do you really love coffee? Because loving coffee is no longer a part of just being in the cafe or just being in the roastery. Now, during a pandemic, coming off the back of a coffee price crisis, is going to have you assessing, what is my commitment to the whole value chain during this pandemic? Now, recently on the podcast, we've been talking about what our responsibility is to coffee producers. I want to take that idea now and connect that with this question of how much do I really love coffee, and project that further down in a forward projection through the value chain and ask, what is my responsibility to the consumer, and how do I connect that whole value chain together when answering the question, how much do I really love coffee? Because here it comes, this is no longer about you. Your role is no longer to be the person that's front and center as the person in the value chain that produces coffee as a beverage or as a roasted product and then gives that to a consumer. We need to shift the narrative to being about the consumer and to being about the producer, and how do we connect those two people? Answering the question, how much do I love coffee, means, can you remove the importance of yourself out of the equation and make the conversation about those two very, very important actors in this value chain and make them front and center of each other's narrative? Your role now is to extend the viability of our industry into a whole new model. The cafe model is changing. The importance of how the roastery is presenting itself to the end consumer is one step removed now. The cafe is playing less of a role of getting coffee to consumers because they're not preparing beverages as much, and we're bringing the roaster closer to the end consumer. And how will you do that? What role will you play? Will you fly the flag for coffee rather than just your brand? Or how will you use your brand to fly the flag for coffee? How will you be an ambassador for the viability of coffee into the future as we experience a very uncertain future where everything's going to change? The cafe model's changing. The role of the barista's changing. The role that all of us have as professionals is changing. How much do you love coffee when it comes to competition? The face of competition will change moving forward. Will you represent producers who are producing 82, 83 scoring coffees at competition? Or will you continue to only represent coffees that are 88s, 92s at competition? What is your commitment to your relationship with coffee moving forward? Will you accept, as we move forward in whatever the model looks like, will you accept supporting coffees that score an 82 as the new normal in your cafe? Or will you continue to strive for being a more elitist specialty brand? How much do you love coffee? That question may sound so polarizing, but it is multi-layered. And it is something that I invite you to spend some time being pensive on, because there's a lot to dissect there and there's a lot to explore. Enjoy having that pondering moment with yourself. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.